All right, here we go with word problems. I know we've done some word problems in the past, but these are getting a little bit more tricky. Learning target number one, I can rewrite a variable in terms of a second variable. That's the big idea for the next 3 lessons, really. That right there, rewriting a variable in terms of a second variable. So when I talk about that right here, really try and pay attention and understand what I'm saying, okay? And then what we'll be able to do is we can set up and solve word problems involving 2 or more variables, okay? So, in the next few lessons, we will be setting up and solving more advanced word problems. The first example is below. These are called consecutive integer problems. You can see why right here. The sum of 3 consecutive integers is 147. Find the 3 integers. Integers are just a fancy word for number, and these are whole numbers. They can be positive or negative. Okay. So, what this problem is asking is that there are 3 unknown numbers that add, that's what sum means, to 147. Therefore, the equation we can get from this is x plus y plus z equals 147. So we're adding 3 unknown numbers. However, we have no way of solving this since there are 3 variables. We really only know how to solve them when there's 1. Okay, well, I take that back. We've solved this, but we haven't gotten a number. So we could get x by itself by subtracting y and subtracting z, but we wouldn't be able to get a number. Okay? To fix this problem of having 3 different variables, we need to find a relationship between the variables so that we can rewrite each variable. So in this case, we're going to rewrite y and z in terms of another variable. In this case, we're going to rewrite it using x. All right, so here's how we're going to do this problem. So x plus y plus z equals 147. We already were there. Now we need to figure out how to do this. So x is going to represent my first integer. Okay? Y is my second integer, and z is my third. I'm not going to write that down yet, okay? But I want to show you, I'm going to use a specific example here. I'm just going to write down any 3 consecutive integers. So we'll just say 4, 5, and 6. Consecutive just means in a row. So 4, 5, and 6. I could have said 19, 20, and 21. And I'll show you a second example just to show you that it doesn't matter. So if I'm looking at my first integer in these 2 examples, this one would be x. This one would be y, and this one would be z. Okay, but if I look at it, how do I get from 4 to 5? Well, I have to add 1, right? So I added 1 to 4 to get to 5. But I don't know that is really my first integer. That was just a specific example. So I'm actually adding 1 to x. So y can be rewritten as x plus 1. Whatever x is, whatever my first number is, if I add 1 to it, I get to the second number. And then I can look at from 4 to 6, I have to add 2. So z could be rewritten as x plus 2. Okay, I'll show you another example here. How do I get from 19 to 20? To add 1. Add 1 to what? X. How do I get from 19 to 21? I add 2. What if I put another number on there, 22? I would add 3 to x, to the original number. Now, if that part didn't make sense, I would pause it and rewatch it, okay? Because that's the main idea for how to do these problems. Okay, now that was just getting it set up. Once I have it that way, I can replace y with x plus 1. I can put that right where I had y. And I can put that right where I had z. So now I have, instead of x plus y plus z, I have x plus 1 plus x plus 2 equals 147. And when I combine like terms, x plus x plus x, I get 3x. 1 plus 2 is 3, so 3x plus 3 equals 147. And there's my equation. Now we can solve for x because I can get x by itself. subtract 3. 3x equals 144. Divide by 3, and that's 8? X equals 48. But remember, 48 is my first number. So 48 is my first number. What's my second number? 48 plus 1, or 49. And then my last number is 48 plus 2, or 50. Easy way to check this, just add those three numbers up. They add up to 147. Okay? So I know it was a lot. And I'm probably asking you to do probably a bit too much here. See if you can figure that one out. To find the three numbers that add up to 2,730. The three numbers in a row. Okay, and I'll check that later. Now, next example says the sum of 4 consecutive integers is 862. Find the largest integer. Okay, so I'm going to say x is my first, again, just like always. Second would be x plus 1, right? My second number would be x plus 1. My third number would be x plus 2. My fourth number then would be x plus 3. Okay, so now I'm going to add those all up. So x plus 1 plus x plus 2 plus x plus 3 equals 862. If I put everything together, I'm going to get 4x plus 6 equals 862. 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6. Okay. Solving that for x, we find that x equals, subtract 6, you get 4x equals 856. Divide by 4, I get 2, 1, 4, 214. Okay, the four integers then are 214, 215, 216, and 217. Look at the question though. Find the largest integer. So in this case, to answer this question, we give 217 as the solution. Common mistake here is people get x, they say 214, call it a day. They're done, 214. Make sure you answer the question. Find the largest integer. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. I am going to move on and do a little bit more with this. Okay, I'm going to add a little wrinkle. The sum of 3 consecutive even integers is negative 72. Find the integers. So again, I'm going to write any 3 consecutive even integers on the line. So I'm just going to pick 3 random ones. I'll say 32, 34, and 36. Those are consecutive even integers. They're 3 even numbers in a row as you're counting. So there you go. What do you notice? Well, hopefully you notice that they increase by 2 between each integer. So from 32 to 34 is adding 2. From 32 to 36 is adding 4, but it's adding 2 from each time. So how does that help us in this problem? If the first even integer is x, I'll just say first even number. What is the second even number? Well, if this is x, how do I get from x to the next one? I have to add 2. So it'll be x plus 2 is my second. And then how do I get to the third? Well, I'd go x plus 4. So x plus 4 would be my third. So now what are the integers? Well, let's figure it out. I have to add these 3 things up, so that's 1, 2, 3 x's. And now I'm adding 2 and 4, and I'm going to get 6. So 3x plus 6 equals negative 72. Subtract 6. Be careful, these are negatives. So negative 72 minus 6 is negative 78. Divide by 3, I get x equals negative 26. So that's my first number, negative 26. My second number, a lot of people will say, just going quickly, they'll go 26, 28, 30. But that's actually getting smaller. We're not subtracting, we're adding. So negative 26 plus 2 is negative 24. Negative 24 plus 2 is negative 22. Those are my 3 numbers. Next one, the sum of 4 consecutive odd integers is 344. What is the largest integer? So I'm looking for the largest of them. So we'll start with, I know we're looking for 4, but I'm just going to take 3 consecutive odd integers on the line, just picking randomly. So I'll just say 53, 55, 57. What do you notice? They also increase by 2 between each integer, just like with evens. So from 53 to 55 is plus 2. From 53 to 57 is plus 4. It looks very similar to evens. So if the first odd integer is x, what's the second odd? Well, 53 plus what gives me the 55? It's plus 2, which gets people confused because 2 is an even number. But if you think about it, it makes sense because if I take an odd number and I add 2 to it, an odd plus an even is an odd. The third number would be x plus 4. And then the last one, the fourth one, would be x plus 6. Now I just put everything together. X, 4 x's, and then I would just add 2, 4, and 6 and get 12 equals 344. Subtract 12, I get what? 332 divided by 4. I get x equals 83. So 83 is my first odd, 85 is my second, 87 is my third, and 89 is my fourth. So then what is the answer to this question? Well, the largest, it's 89. Okay, since consecutive even integers look the same as consecutive odd integers, hopefully I made that very clear. These look exactly the same as far as how they increase. What is the difference between them? The starting numbers is the only difference. The starting number on this one was negative 26, that's even. The starting number on this one was 83, that's odd. That's the only difference. Each of them increases by 2 each time. Okay? Consecutive integers are not the only types of problem that require rewriting a variable in terms of another, but they provide good practice with this skill. Here's another example. It's nothing like consecutive integers, but it uses the same idea of rewriting a variable in terms of another variable. Okay? So Roger cut a 200 centimeter board into 2 pieces. I'm going to draw a picture. So the whole thing is 200 centimeters. So from here to here. And he cut it into 2 pieces. We don't know anything about it, not 2 even pieces, they just cut it into 2 pieces. The larger piece, so this one, was 5 centimeters more than double the shorter piece. What were the length of the 2 boards? Okay, so let's call this one X and this one Y. So X is my shorter board, Y is my longer board. I know that together they add up to 200. I know that, but that doesn't help me. I need to rewrite Y in terms of another variable. So instead of Y, I'm going to look at this sentence right here. This shows the relationship between the large piece and the short piece. So the larger piece was. Large piece is Y. Was is the past tense of is. Y equals 5 centimeters more than, so 5 plus double the shorter piece. Well, the shorter piece is X. So now I can put that 5 plus 2X in for Y. And that's how I'm going to solve this. So I have the short piece, X, plus the long piece, which is 5 plus 2X, equals 200. Putting everything together, I get 3X plus 5 equals 200. Subtract 5, I get 3X equals 195. Divide by 3, I get X equals 65. Yeah, 65. So I guess I did too much here. The equation that I got was right here, 3X plus 5 equals 200. And hopefully you see where I got that. It's right here. So the shorter board, X, was 65 centimeters. The longer board, you could do a couple ways of getting this. You could do 200 minus 65, or you could take that 65 and put it in here. Double the shorter board, so 2 times 65 would be 130, plus 5 would be 135 centimeters. Okay, I know that's probably confusing. We're going to take time and work on it, but hopefully if there was a spot in here where you didn't understand, I would pause it, or I guess go back and watch that again. Try to understand it when you come in. That'll make you hopefully do better when we're practicing this.